Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and work on the second part of this activity this week. Your view will look a lot different with mine as I'm updating this all right now. But I'm just going to show you, we're going to be working in P6 today. So typically we have this software on the computer lab, so we would just be using it there, but it's really nice. They have this on Cal Poly's AppStream. So I'm just going to go real quickly through that on how to add that. So some of you I know did that already for Revit. But this just allows us, I think, a little bit cleaner way and not having to download a pretty heavy software like P6 just for this one activity. So we're going to go ahead and use this AppStream for this. So go ahead and click on this link to AppStream to get going. This will take you to a little kind of a Q&A page or FAQ page, but go ahead and do this connect to virtual AppStream. So this will show you to access, you must first enroll in Duo, which is a two-factor authentication tool. This is on your phone that you got to download this. So you must enroll right here. So please just go through this if you do not already have it, but I'm just going to assume most of you already have that on your computer or on your phone. So when you do, just go to General. Takes you to your Cal Poly login, two-step verification. So again, I registered my phone right here, and here I can even put this on speaker. I'm just going to do call me. It's really quick. Hello.
Welcome to Duo. If you were not expecting this call, please press 3 to report fraud.
So press 1 on my phone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And there we go. We're in. So again, you've got to set up that Duo on your phone first. And now we're in to this AppStream. So we're going to go ahead and click on P6. So we've got to do one other step, little different than Revit. We've got to connect this to our OneDrive. So it's, again, just kind of one extra step, but we'll go through that. Okay, I'm going to post this to Polylearn, but now that we have Virtual Computer Lab open, we need to connect to our OneDrive for P6. So you'll see the steps right here. So I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth, but if I go, back here to my file tree, and I've already done this, so it's going to look a little bit differently, but once you click that, then you go ahead and click on this add storage. It'll ask you to log in here, hit accept, and now you're connected to your OneDrive from the AppStream. So again, mine looks a little bit different because I already did that. So I'm going to go OneDrive, and then you can go Files, and then I just created this test folder, so I'm going to go ahead and do a P6, or you can add another one here. And now it is connected. Okay, awesome, great. So we've got it's a little, the hardest part's just getting signed in, but we're almost there. So now that we see P6 here, we're going to go ahead and click Database and go ahead and go to Configure. Now that we have set up that OneDrive connection, this should work. So we're going to go down here, make sure this P6 Pro Standalone selected, hit Next, add a new standalone database connection down here, and Next. And then you're just going to type in, I just like doing something very generic, so 123. All the computer labs are set to have this 123 or usually an admin password. So I'm just going to do 123 here. Next and finish. Okay, and then we're going to go over here to login, and we're just going to type in that password 123 and connect. All right, now P6 is opening. This little error message pops up. That is okay. And we're in. Whew. Okay, again, that's the trickiest part that will be going in here. So P6 is a database software. That means it's kind of like a cloud-based software where more than one person can be working in it at the same time. So it's a great resource to have for big companies or project teams. This is just showing you kind of like TouchPlan, how they gave us a few default problems. P6 gives us a ton. If you double click over here in this time scale, it'll actually take you over to what these schedules look like, which is interesting. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and create our own schedule or a new schedule. So you can use really two different toolbars throughout P6. So over here to the far right, there's this add button, or a lot of times you can just right click on your mouse. So if you go right click, add, okay, and now you'll see over here in the background in blue, our project's about to get created. So I like hosting this schedule in all initiatives, and that's really just the category that it's going to be in. So go ahead and just leave it as that all initiative. If it's not, hit this little info bar, double click the enterprise all initiatives. Okay, hit next. So project ID, go ahead, let's just do 280. This is assignment 10, I believe. And then project name. This can be kind of similar to your TouchPlan schedule. So I'm just going to do Klein, tiny home. Okay. Okay, and then the plan start date, same idea here. So we're going to go ahead and put in our start date, but don't put in your finish date. Let's just go ahead and let the schedule calculate that out for us. So I'm pretty much done here. Once I hit that date, click finish. All right, and now our schedule is created, and now we're going to go ahead and make sure it's highlighted. Right click, open project. Okay, so we've got this created. Great. So what we're really going to be doing is we're going to be taking that Gantt chart that you've already created and adding it in to this P6 schedule. So we're creating a schedule, yes, from scratch, but you've kind of already gone through the logic, how the trades are going to stack, in that way. So what we're going to do, and this is just to kind of introduce you to P6, we always want to start with our WBS or our work breakdown structure. So if you come up here, now we are in our project. So if you click on your project, and just be careful sometimes, this toolbar can get dragged by accident. So just make sure it's up there. But if you do see it like this, you can just drag it back up to the top. So we're going to go enterprise, project, WBS. So this opens up this WBS tab. So in here, what our WBS is, these are kind of our main buckets or the main areas that we're going to be adding in our activities. So just kind of think about this as an organization structure of where we're going to be putting in our activities. So I just like formatting this a little bit. And we're just going to be adding, just for fun, let's do like 3 of these in here. So we've got structure. Yeah, let's just do 3. So I click the plus button here. And just be careful, this family tree or these relationship lines are going to show you what tier they are. So just make sure you click on this top folder, hit the plus button. There you go, now they're the same tier. But if you did this on accident and hit the plus button here, you'll see now that we've got one inside of this, but it's really easy. You can use your arrows over here to move it to the same indentation. So if this does not show up with the relationship line, just go ahead and click on this WBS code box up here until these relationship lines show up. Okay, so our first one is just going to be milestones. So I always like putting a milestone category, and I'm only changing my name over here to the right. I'm not messing with the code, so just leave the code as is. And then we've got structure. We're keeping ours pretty simple here, and then we've got finishes. All right, so now that we've got these three main buckets or WBS categories created, if we go back to activities, they should all be there. There's always a little bit of a lag in between these clicking from tab to tab, so I always just like to go up here to File, Refresh Data to get that caught up. So we should see these in order here. Milestone, structure, finishes. If they are not in order, click back to your WBS tab and you can manually move these up or down. But we want milestones first, structure second, finishes third. Okay, so now that we have these WBS categories created, we're going to go ahead and create activities inside of them. So this is going to be a little different from your Gantt chart you created, but still very similar. So we're going to go ahead and hit Add button or right-click Add so that we can even do that. Right-click Add. Ooh, sometimes this little wizard pops up, or activity wizard. You can go ahead and click out of that or say do not show me again, but I may have already done it and that's why it does it. Oh, here it is. Yep. So if you use that, it shows up. I don't really like that, so I'm just going to hit finish. Okay, so we've got two different activities here. You can see, you can adjust the activity ID and the name, and then you just want to make sure this property bar is loaded up here on the bottom. This property bar is really when we start getting into the overall duration, the predecessors, the successors, but I just like creating my activities first and then kind of start messing with their properties. So this first one is going to be notice to proceed, let's say construction. And then I just like the milestones category is really like your VP level view. So this is just kind of highlighting some of the main things in your schedule. So you can add in, I'm just going to add in 2 or 3 here, but I'm just going to put in, let's say, building, important one that we've got is building dried in. So this is always a good one to note. Just your roof's in, your exterior's on. So that's a lot of times when you can get drywall in or some of the things that you don't want getting wet. So we got building dried in. Just think of another one here. Let's say drywall complete. So once your drywall complete, that sometimes kicks off a lot of your interior trades. And then really, let's just do our last one, which is project complete. Okay, so just a few milestones. These will be tied to actual activities that we got going. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and set this notice to proceed date before we start adding in our different activities. So our notice to proceed date, if you go down here to your properties tab, go to, gotta load this up a little bit more. We're going to change 2 different things. So if we go to general, you've got activity type, and you'll see there are these 6 different types of activities. This will start making sense in a little bit, but by default, they're all task dependent, and 98% of your activities a lot of times in your schedule is task dependent. And that's exactly what it sounds like. Your painter can't start until drywall's complete, so they're depending on another task. But this one is actually going to be a start milestone. And then once the activity types change, we're going to go to status, and then we're actually going to change, yeah, it actually did it for us alright, but we're just going to make sure it's on June 1st. And I kind of like double checking it right here. I'm going to put start on, oops, there it is, June 1st. Perfect. And you'll see whenever it's a constraint or whenever you're putting kind of manually entering something, it'll come up with this little asterisk next to it. Okay, so one of two ways to do this. I have my Gantt chart printed out from our previous activity, but if you even dual screen it, however you want to do it, but really we're just going to be adding in our activities, durations into this schedule, and then tying them together similar to how we did in Touch Plan. So under structure, I'm going to go ahead and add, I just like adding a few activities in here to get some running room. So my first activity was excavate and grade. And then over here, you can start seeing, this is where I'm going to adjust my original duration. So I've got 2 days. Okay, and then we've got form, work, and rebar. 4 days. Similar to kind of how I did it with Touch Plan, I'm going to start this with you, create my schedule so I'm not making you guys watch me do all this, and then we'll kind of get back together after all the activities are created to show you how to print it. But let's just keep going through with a few of these, and then we got building sheet. 1 day here. Okay. And then, yeah, I'm not organizing like this, like I did in Touch Plan, where they're organized by trade, but now we're organizing by category. So a common way we would do it on a job site too is by the divisions. So let's just say concrete, yes, but you'd also have your rebar, maybe your structural steel. So we would kind of organize them by the main categories, or these WBS of your job. So substructure, exteriors, interiors, landscaping, so those kind of main categories that split up your job. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So building sheeting, and still in my structure, I've got frame walls at 4 days. I'm going to add in a few more here. I think 2 more. Yep, let's add 2 more. So we got frame walls, we got install roof, 2 days, and then building. I'm just going to put building wrap for this one. We'll do building sheeting. Okay, and then I'm hitting tab to jump over to the original duration. It just kind of speeds things up a little bit. Whoops, did I? Oh. See, this is what's nice about doing it in class. You guys correct me if I do something wrong. But I jumped ahead. So after formwork and rebar, it's actually going to be pour footings. My bad. Pour footings and slab on grade. That's a day. Same thing. Good. Okay. So now this is kind of the fun part, I think, with P6. We're going to start assigning or linking them up to really start making a realistic schedule. So there's 2 different ways to do this, and I'm going to show you both of them. So right here, I am under, or I have my excavate and grade activity highlighted in blue. So once it's highlighted, go ahead and click on this predecessor, and you can go to assign button on the bottom left. You can blow this up a little bit. And then you are going to assign the predecessor. So excavate and grade starting right away. So the predecessor is going to be notice to proceed construction. And now you'll see it showing up as a predecessor. The name's popping up, and the relationship is something that we can't adjust. So you can see right here, this is actually fine, but since it's a start milestone, it doesn't really matter that it's a finish start relationship. But sometimes you would want to do it a start to start relationship. A start, I've never actually really used start to finish, but usually start to start's a good one. Or just leave it as the default finish start. Okay, so that one's looking good. Then I'm going to show you the little quicker way. So let's just say all of these things, and I think they are. So all of these activities in structure, happen one after another. So kind of linear sequence. So what we're going to do is click on this first activity, so excavate and grade. Then I'm going to hold shift and click on this bottom activity, which is building sheathing. And then you can right click and go to link activities. So now that just linked them all, and we can't see anything. Let's go ahead and delete this. So let's double click over in our time scale. Great. So now you can see these link lines are good. But P6 just has kind of a built-in, I think it's like a protector type of thing where it makes you manually click this schedule button, but we can turn that off. So if you click on schedule, what's your current data date? That looks good. And click schedule, and now it starts building it out. But we can adjust that too, so it manually starts doing this, so we don't have to keep clicking the schedule button. So if you click on the schedule button, go ahead and go to options and do this box right here, schedule automatically when a change affects dates. Then after you do that, hit close, not default, but close and schedule. Okay, so now once we start making changes, don't do this, but I'm just showing you, let's just say that got changed. Now it's starting to automatically update. Okay, so now we're looking pretty good right here. Did I hit one of my milestones yet? Not yet, but that's okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep adding. So finishes, and let's just say I did kind of screw up here. It's not just finishes, but I want this to be MEPs and finishes, and I apologize. I think I need a new camera here, so that may be a little distracting. But if you want to adjust this name of finishes, just go ahead and click back here. And I want this to be MEPs and finishes. Perfect. So next up, I'm just going to go ahead and add in the rest of these activities. So this is really, about 13 more activities it looks like. So you can go ahead and click in here. I just like clicking away. Okay, so I'm going to start with my next MEP. So I got Ruffin. And if you like to add in the relationships as you go, you can totally do that. So let's just say we got 3 days. Whoops. We've got 3 days here. And so let's just say using one of those ways to assign. So my predecessor for my Ruffin is install roof system. So I got install roof, let's say. So you can click on this one, and instead of holding shift, now I'm going to hold control, click on this one, right click, link activities. Here I'm going to show you the other way how to do it real quick, and then this one we've got finishes and trim. But the other way you can manually pop in these predecessors is I have my activity highlighted. Go ahead and click my plus assign button, and then you double click over here for Ruffin. So that also is the other way how to assign the predecessors. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. You guys go ahead and add the rest of your activities. Okay, so now all of my activities are in. So one thing I adjusted here with like my MEP, I just added MEP Ruffin, MEP Finish and Trim. And then the other thing that was bugging me was this paint. I just put exterior paint because I have an interior paint as well. So you can just specify that if you want. Whoops, interior. Okay, so now all my activities are in, durations are in. So next, we just have to go ahead and finish adding in our relationships or our predecessors. So this one gets a little, not as easy where we're just holding everything. We got to actually start thinking about the predecessors here. So where I left off was my install Windows. So my Windows, and I just I'm going to do it this way too, is based off, so I'm going to open up my assign predecessor. So we can leave it pretty small too. So my install Windows is based off of my building sheathing. So double click here. And you can go ahead and keep clicking. So leave open your assign predecessor box. And now I'm just going down here. So now I'm on siding and trim. So siding and trim is going to be install windows. Okay, I'm going to click down here. So my exterior paint is going to be siding and trim. So those ones are. So this is kind of why I'm doing it manually, because now I'm jumping to my interior. So my insulation is going to be going on at the same time as my exterior. So once my insulation is selected over here, my predecessor, assign predecessor box is still open. And again, we pop that open using this plus assign icon. So this predecessor is MEP Ruffin right here. Okay, and a lot of these, really the remainder of these interior are all linked concurrently. So now once I hit insulation, I'm just going to go ahead, click insulation, hold shift, click final touch-ups, right click, link activities. Okay, and now we've got everything linked up. So this is just kind of nice thing to see in P6. You can go ahead and use this little, until the magnifying is loaded over here, drag that over, and your red line shows up as critical path. So critical path, just a little highlight, are items without float. So this automatically calculates your float. So what this float number is telling me, like my MEP finish and trim, this activity could get delayed or take 10 more days and not impact my final date. But let's just say something that is on the critical path with a 0-day total float. If this gets delayed one day or gets pushed one day, it's going to automatically impact my finish date. Okay, so we have a few more things to do, and then really we're done with this. So let's just go ahead and clean up our milestones. So for building dried in, I'm just going to open up my predecessor tab again. So this is going to be a finish milestone. So building dried in is right when I really have my windows in. Because again, once your windows are in, that means your roof should hopefully be done. So I'm going to click on my windows. So I'm dried in here. And then drywall complete, same thing. So we're going to go to general, adjust this to be finish milestone. I'm just going to click down here, drywall, tape and texture. Okay, and then project complete, same thing. We're going to adjust that to a finish milestone. And I just know it's my last activity, so I'm going to go down here to final. There. Okay, so we're looking good. Yep, so this all looks pretty clean. So again, the milestones, just kind of your VP level look. A quick way for them to glance at the schedule to see some of these major dates. And if you're comparing it week to week, it's a good thing to check too, are these dates sliding? Are they getting more ahead? So it's just kind of a quick way to summarize. Okay, so one more thing and then we're going to print this. So if you are over here on the right by your time scale, go ahead and right click this. Go to time scale. Let's go ahead and adjust this because it's such a tight, it's really a month-and-a-half schedule. So we're going to change this to be year, let's do month, week, just to kind of blow it up. Hit apply and hit OK. So now, and then same thing when you got this little magnifying glass, just go ahead and left click and drag it out. Kind of blow it up a little. Okay, so now we got a pretty great schedule. Whoops, I think I forgot. Yeah, I did something wrong here. MEP finishes and trims. Yep, this is when somebody would have called me out too. So the predecessor for this, remember, was paint complete. So I can go ahead and leave in this predecessor. I'm just going to add in a new one. So it is And now you'll see that just jumped it off of the critical path, but this is occurring a little bit later. Okay, now we're ready to print. So go ahead and go up to Print Preview, top left. So looks ugly, so we got to clean it up a little bit. So the top left, Page Setup. So we're going to do two things. So we're going to do Fit Timescale, and that's that timescale box over there, to one page. So click on that, and then go over here to Options. And we're going to adjust these options to highlight when it's actually finishing. So it's going to be May, it looks good. Yeah, the finish actually looks good. So hit Apply and OK. So that looks really clean. The only thing I want to adjust right here are some of these columns. So I'm going to click out of here, and I'm just going to shrink some of these down. Whoops. Yeah, if that happens, just go ahead and click on your activity ID that you want it sorted by. Just minimize these a little bit more. Okay, and that looks pretty good. You could adjust these columns. This kind of gets into scheduling a little bit later in your career. And again, if you're interested in this, please reach out to me. I'll kind of give you more intro on my advanced scheduling class, which we use a lot of P6 in. So okay, so now I'm good. So I'm going to hit my print preview. Okay, that looks a lot better. You could even adjust this page setup. If you wanted to, you could make this tabloid, which is 11 by 17, and that actually makes it a lot better. So hit OK, but you don't need to. Anyway, I just want this on one sheet of paper. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and print this as a PDF. So go ahead. Oh, that's interesting. Bluebeam PDF. I was wondering how this was going to look on our AppStream, but since Bluebeam's in there, it's great. So we're going to hit OK. Report printed. See where it goes. I didn't try this. Okay, so this does not seem to be working with the print, but that is okay. If you just go ahead and screenshot this, so I like going to my snip tool, which is built in. If you just type SNIP in your browser, you can do that, but I'm just going to go ahead and do new. This is really just taking a picture of my schedule. And then from here, you can submit this as a JPEG, because right here, oops, you can see file save as a JPEG, or you can paste this in a PDF, but I don't know where, and I may figure this out pretty soon and adjust this video, but I don't know where when we hit print in our AppStream where it goes. I can't seem to find it. So I'm going to ask IT. If anybody knows, let me know. But go ahead and just submit this JPEG or snip view and you're fine. All right. Hope you all have a great rest of the week. Great weeks or work so far in this revised quarter. Just letting you all know we've got final next week. It's going to be very similar to kind of that setup that we did for the first one, where you're just going to be we're going to be assessing the different softwares you've used from the last midterm up to this point. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'll post my email in all the sections. All right, have a great week.